Change can be scary. Change can be difficult. But sometimes change is required. Fresh starts and new beginnings often bring success. This is a year of change in Toronto, a process calling for patience as growing pains come along the way. With each loss and each victory, lessons are learned. Change we believe in, change we need. Lots going on in the big city, lots going on both sides of the border. And there's a guy who's ready to take to the ice, a couple of hot hands, and the guy named Finger all heading in for a hockey game at the Air Canada Centre. Welcome everybody to Gate 1. This is Leafs Nation HQ and Molson Canadian Leaf Nation Pregame. I'm Jody Vance, very glad to be joined by our usual cast of characters, including Joe Bowen, Mark Morrow, our hockey analyst, and our senior reporter, Paul Henrik. And right off the top, we must say congratulations to Alexei Ponikarovsky and his family on the birth of their son, Max. Everybody is doing well, we hear, so we hope everybody tries to get a little bit of sleep with the newborn in the house. Election night, south of the border, we will be sort of updating things as they happen. Barack Obama, John McCain duking it out finally. It feels like 5 years after the run-up to this election began. Want to get a couple of thoughts from you guys. Joe, aren't you half American?
Yeah, my mother was born in Knox, Pennsylvania, so we've always had a pretty interested viewpoint of what's going on down there. I just hope that it gets the economy going in the right direction.
Amen to that.
Isn't that the truth? Now, I would have thought I was going to grow up to make lots of money playing in the National Hockey League, hence would have voted Republican. However, that didn't come true.
You're in television now, my friend.
Exactly. So my wife is American. She's voting Obama. I guess I'll have to support my wife.
All right.
Saturday Night Live won't quite be as good from here on in, but I know that Ron Wilson is a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. Cliff Fletcher cheering for the Republicans. He has a home in Scottsdale, Arizona. The only problem is Ron voted. Cliff cannot vote. He is a Canadian citizen. So if you've got to be politically correct and go with your boss, Ron Wilson isn't doing that.
Speaking of Ron Wilson, yesterday at practice, he took some time out to talk about the election and the fact that he will be paying close attention even with the game on.
I'll be tuning in during the game. That has probably more impact on all our lives than one hockey game tomorrow night. Think about it.
I know a lot of people want change down there, and it'll be interesting to see which way they go in terms of what party. I grew up a Republican. My dad's a Republican, so I think I will admit I would vote Republican if I was down there. I didn't get my absentee ballot in time, but I know Coach Wilson, you said you were going to talk to him about it. He's a Democrat, but he didn't know which way he was going to go either. I mean, it's a tough call, and I don't know. You just kind of got to go with what you're feeling and who you believe.
Most I would think most people making a fair bit amount of money would declare themselves Republicans because of tax reasons. But I don't know how John McCain would build all the things he's claiming he's going to build without raising taxes.
John McCain is going to be a little bit upset with Jeff Finger there and him not getting his ballot in. Andy Pachilla joins us from downstairs. It's funny how so much U.S. election talk is going on in the Leafs dressing room.
Quite a bit. I mean, there are 3 Americans on the team, but Jeff Finger did say on a side note that one change he would like to see in America is perhaps the profile of hockey getting a little bit bigger, a little bit more hype around that sport. Now, a little later on in the show, I'll be speaking to the legendary radio play-by-play voice for the Carolina Hurricanes, Chuck Caton. He's been with the team since they were the Hartford Whalers. He's been doing this for as long as I've been alive, which is almost, but not quite, 3 decades. So Chuck Caton will be coming up a little later on in the show. Jody?
Oh, yeah, we'll be celebrating your 30th on the air. Don't you worry about that. We'll talk to you very shortly, Andy. Thank you. Time to head back up here, and it's time for your headlines brought to you by Ford, powered by you. Paul?
Well, on this election night, a couple of headlines, and we look at all this offense. 15 goals for Toronto in their last 3 games. The second headline, getting caught. 4 penalties taken during that second period on Sunday night. Joe, let's start it off. Can we attribute the surge in goals to work ethic?
I think a lot of that is work ethic, Paul, but a lot of the other aspects of it, of course, is what you're being taught as far as playing in your own end. And I think Ron Wilson and his coaching staff have done an admirable job this early into the season to get everybody on page about what's going on in their own end of the rink. Because if you play less in that end of the rink, you're going to get more chances at the other end of the rink. And the work ethic has been there. both forechecking, back checking, and certainly defensive zone coverage has been a vast improvement over what it was a year ago.
And if you watch the video that we just saw of all the games of all the goals in the previous 3 games, there's also one other common factor along with the work ethic, and that is the amount of shots they're taking. This team now averages 34 shots a game. That's third in the National Hockey League. But when they win games, they're averaging a little over 37 shots a game. And it's really amazing how many guys are contributing. All these guys are firing multiple shots. They're all being rewarded. The work ethic is there, but they're doing the little things that are required to win hockey games. That's getting to the front of the net, causing traffic, and getting the puck there.
Dominic Moore is a career high of 9 goals in a season. Did that with the Rangers 3 years ago. He's already at 3 so far this season, and Dominic has theories as to why the Leafs are hitting the back of the net with regularity.
Dominic, at the beginning of the season, everyone was going to wonder where was the offense going to come from on this team. Do you like the fact that this is a team that doesn't look to 1 or 2 guys? The offense is spread everywhere.
Yeah, I think that's a great sign. I think our team is, top to bottom. We've got good speed and good skill, and you've seen the way we've performed. I think the shot totals are always up, and that's the style we have to play. Is everyone aggressive, everyone throwing it to the net, and spread the wealth. That's good.
Another thing a lot of people say is you've got to play 60 minutes. That's what coaches preach. How is this team able to do that? Because coming back from 2-3 goal deficits, you're able to play the full 60 minutes.
Yeah, I mean that's a great sign for any team when you're able to come back from those deficits. And I think last game was a case where we were on the flip side with a lead, and we've got to learn to control those leads as well. And it's a growing process, and we'll learn as we go.
Headline number 2, getting caught with too many soft penalties in Carolina, specifically in that second period. Joe, can we blame too many games in too few days perhaps for this one?
Well, I think their energy level wasn't there, Paul, and I think everybody would admit that. And when you don't have that energy, you get caught with your feet not moving. And if your feet aren't moving, you're grabbing and hooking and getting penalties like that. I mean, Carlo Koliakovo was just an unfortunate happenstance. He did the right thing, trying to bat the puck out because he had no stick, but it ended up, they say, he closed his hand on it. So you can't really say too much about that one. But the other one, a lot of them were a situation where their feet weren't moving.
And the fact is, Mark, very few teams in this league are better than the Leafs in taking few penalties. They're 3rd overall, and the team they're playing tonight's 4th best, so this should be a good game.
No, exactly. And one of the strengths that the Leafs do have is their speed, and they're able to draw a lot of penalties and get themselves into a defensive position where they're not in, as Joe talks about, the hooking, the tripping. They're not behind the guy in those positions where they're going to take penalties. But sometimes you get tired, sometimes you get worn down, and it's the end of a long shift. You're going to get caught in those positions, and that's where they've got to. Ron Wilson talks about the conditioning and getting to, by Christmas time, having this team in top condition. I know with Matt Nichols, strength coach, they're probably almost there. But it's just those little finer points that at the end of a shift, you can get into that proper positioning that you don't have to take a penalty, and that's where they'll be successful.
Well, let's face facts. Team discipline has been very good, and as mentioned, in terms of taking penalties, they're 3rd best in the entire National Hockey League. A bit of an aberration in the second period on Sunday night. Head coach Ron Wilson looked back on it this way.
Well, I don't know. I think we had 4 tripping penalties, 1 holding. I hate those kinds of penalties. It indicates you're a little lazy. But in fairness to our team, we were playing. That wasn't a schedule maker's dream right there, throwing us into Carolina and playing like within 22 hours after the kind of effort that we needed to come back on the Rangers. That took a lot of energy, and we see penalties like that as an indication of being tired too. So I thought we took the game pretty well at Carolina for 45 minutes or so, 40 minutes almost, 35 minutes, and they got us at the end of the second period. But we re-energized ourselves in the last 12 or 13 minutes and played very well. We just we'll be a lot more energized tonight, so we'll stay out of the box. If you're moving your feet, you stay out of the box.
Few penalties tonight. The Maple Leafs' chances to win are huge. Jody, a lot more in the show to talk about, but you have more as well.
I do indeed, Paul. In fact, a very cool sit-down interview, if I do say so myself, because this guy was great. Chad Larose tells us all kinds of stories, including when he got the phone call to get called up to the National Hockey League and sort of where he was at that moment, and if he even took the call. Have a listen.
We had 3-3 on the weekend in the AHL, and we played Friday, Saturday. and I had to call Sunday morning, and I was dead asleep, and I didn't answer it, and it was my coach, and I just sent him to voicemail, and then he called back, and I answered, and then it was very exciting. You know, they told me, and then the most exciting thing is to be able to call my dad. He was at work that day, and tell him the good news because he's a big hockey fan. And
all I had to do was say hi to Chad, and he took care of the rest of the interview. It's a great one. It's coming up a little later in the show. Fans here at the Air Canada Centre,